My name's Ian. I'm in the Developer Evangelism team here at Amazon Web Services, and I'm joined by Randall, also on Developer Evangelism and an experienced software engineer on the team. We're going to talk to you quickly in this segment about machine learning using Amazon Web Services. And just starting at the top, Randall, what do you think are the most important topics for developers building machine learning applications to focus on today?
Today, I think we're in a pretty different spot from where we were a few years ago, in that developers no longer need to be experts in machine learning to take advantage of machine learning. So previously, you needed to have a pretty good understanding of math and stats and a lot of the tools and the data manipulation topics that are involved in machine learning. But now, there are a couple of AWS services that I think make that much easier for incoming developers. So you have things like AWS Glue, which let you take all the formats that you can imagine and go and transform those into the format that you need.
This is for data preparation, right?
And ETL. So you can go and say, hey, I want to pull my data from Dynamo, or I want to pull my data from RDS, or I want to pull my data from wherever, and I want to transform it into the format that my model is expecting, or that my training job is expecting. So then you get into this aspect of, hey, what kind of questions can I answer with this data, or what kind of questions do I want to try to answer with this data? And so you can say, go to Amazon SageMaker, where you have this really, really cool set of tools that are all kind of orthogonal to each other, but also exist in this really nice pipeline. So you have a Jupyter Notebook that you can use for your exploratory data analysis. You can visualize the features of your data set, and then you can hop over from there into just training your models on that data. And that's 2 lines of code that you use to call that entire thing, which still blows my mind. It has built-in hyperparameter optimization and all these other really kind of cool optimizations to make this training a lot better than it used to be when you had to do it manually and had to track everything. Then the really kind of powerful part is once you have that model, you have to host it. And it's not like hosting a regular instance or hosting a regular web app. You actually have to monitor it and do all kinds of testing, like A/B testing. So SageMaker has this other component, which is the hosting of the models. So you can go and say, hey, models, run on this configuration and be available for real-time inferences or even batch transforms. So I can take petabytes of data coming in from S3, transform them all using a SageMaker endpoint, and I'm just done. And the data goes to its output location.
Sounds like it really simplifies the process, like a tool chain for building ML models, right?
A world of difference from what it was a few years ago.
Cool. So I know you're pretty experimental and have built some cool demos for quite a few different AWS services. What have you built using Amazon SageMaker? Have you got anything you can show us today?
So I am a millennial, and I spend a lot of time on Twitter. And Twitter has this really cool API called the Account Activity API. And what that does is it creates a webhook where you can go and say, hey, whenever somebody tweets at me, I want to do some sort of action. And this fits really well with the serverless model. So we have a Lambda function that responds to that webhook when Twitter invokes it. And we can post pictures of anywhere in the world. And we have a model that we host in SageMaker that will go and tell you where in the world it thinks that picture was taken. So you can see this picture of downtown Seattle is in Seattle, which I think is pretty cool. And it's all hosted in SageMaker. It's completely serverless. You don't have to run or manage any infrastructure.
That's great. Thanks, Randall. If you want to learn more about machine learning at AWS, check out at ml.aws. Just enter that into your browser. Thanks, Randall.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.